I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Wednesday, February the 8th, where the week is starting to take shape now. We had a big bounce in your cash feeder cattle market on Monday. After late in the week on the board especially, we saw some positive notes there with the board up big on Thursday and then holding that on Friday, which seems like it's kind of hard to do sometimes, but you know, maybe late last week we were thinking that going into this week we're doomed to have a lower fat cattle trade and things would start to run out. But now, after we had a big optimistic Monday and a pretty good Tuesday too, we're thinking, you know, we may be able to hold steady or maybe even better if the board continues to cooperate. But on Tuesday, you know, everything was up, so we're not sure if that's going to hold throughout the middle of the week anyway. But live cattle futures on the April contract, Monday was unchanged, Tuesday up 87 cents, with February on Tuesday up $1.25 at 117.67, and that's closing in just a buck back from what the weighted average was on last week's fat cattle trade. Your feeder cattle contracts, the March, Monday was down a nickel, Tuesday up 70 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 124.22, which is still well below what cattle are bringing. But you know, we might get at least steady money on this fat cattle market this week. All eyes will be on the online sale here on Wednesday, but then that usually has been spurring some early trade. But if guys will dig in, these packers need cattle. So and we're getting into a time whenever we're kind of short on market ready supplies. So you know, don't let them fool you into to selling some 2 or 3 weeks out, you know, at steady money or something like that, because we got to take advantage of these times when we can. And slaughter's been up there pretty decent, backing off seasonally right now, but still staying well ahead of last year. But the weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade on 77,400 head of negotiated sales, which is down from what we've been seeing from the last half of last year and up through the early part of the new year here. But 118.76 was the weighted average on live steers, which was down $2.46, and the dressed steer average 189.78, which was down $3.68. Box beef cutout values have been lower to sharply lower early this week, which is going to make it tough to trade with the packers, because they just have gotten so used to making money even in the lean times, which this is seasonally going into this time of the year, the time of year whenever they are in the red. But last year they didn't see any red ink at all, and they just really gotten accustomed to staying in the black all the time, and it's going to be hard to get them to give in. But at some point you just got to dig your heels in. The slaughter so far this week, 221,000, which is down 7,000 from last week, but up 4,000 from the same week a year ago. Look at your feeder cattle and calves. Lighter runs are starting to come. Now, we've said since last fall, all the way through the fall, the end of the year, and moving into the new year, we were saying that we were behind on our calf sales, spring-born calves. But I think anyway, we've caught up on those. You know, we had huge placements in November and December, and I assume that January, whenever it comes out later this month, is going to show that it was bigger than a year ago too, because if you've been watching, we've been selling a lot of calves. We didn't sell them in September and October. Guys kept them. They had the feed, the grass to keep those cattle. They didn't like the market back then, so they held them. But I think we've just about got through the glut now. Now we're getting to the time where the runs are going to lighten up, and if guys got empty pen space, which reportedly they're starting to have some pen space loosen up around, and still starting to stockpile those calves to turn out on early grass or the late graze out, they're going to start digging in and pushing this market further than what it really should be. But Oklahoma City just had 6,500 head, and no reason that they didn't have more. On Monday, feeders were steady to $6 higher. Calves 1 to 4 higher, spots as much as $6 higher on heifers, as these guys that are putting together stockers are realizing that they're stretching themselves too thin and betting on the come on these steers, so the heifers are so much cheaper. They'll gain good, and sure nothing wrong with a heifer to graze either. Joplin had 5,000 head on Monday. Feeders were steady. Calves $4 to $8 higher. Look at an individual quote on Tuesday in the middle of the afternoon at a weanback special at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas. Their normal sales on Thursday, but they had some big calves with a lot of preconditioning done on Tuesday special. They had a load of 671-pound steers Tuesday at 4:20 in the afternoon, bring 149 1/4. Pretty impressive price there. That's 3 minutes. We'll talk to you on Friday.